Welcome back, Michelle.
Kind of glad to be, not really glad to be back.
Thank you for doing this again with me.
Yes.
I love this theme. It's my favorite theme.
Yes.
But we're both going to be uncomfortable. However, for me, it's number 2, and for you, it's number 1. So, what did you think of the trailer for the movie Rope Curse?
Well, it's puzzling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why?
At least you got to see it with correct subtitles.
I did. The subtitles actually made sense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about your experience when you watched it.
Mm-hmm.
But why they wouldn't just get rid of this rope? I mean, there's a lot of logic that
Well,
seems
you'll
to...
find out what happened about the rope.
I see.
So, hello, everyone, and welcome to Tales of Our Time. This is a show where we discuss the stories that move us, what makes them so interesting, and why others could or should find meaning in them as well. This is not a spoiler-free show, so bear that in mind as you continue to listen. But as you probably guessed from the intro and the music, we are in my favorite theme of the year, our Fall Freakout series, where I and my returning guest co-host,
Michelle Chiang,
review scary movies, especially scary movies from or featuring Taiwan. Because Michelle cannot stand ghosts, I watch all of the supernatural horror flicks and tell her about all the ghosty goos and demons and monsters. Meanwhile,
I watch all of the body horror flicks, the ones where people get Quentin Tarantino'd.
the ones with especially this year. Oh my God.
Yes, and tell Amanda all about the gore.
And also the psychological.
Oh, yeah.
The psychological thrillers. I don't know why. I just can't. I can't stand that.
They're heavy.
I don't like it. I don't like the content of those films. So we're going to be doing spooky stuff for this whole month. And that means that we might be doing some upsetting themes. We'll try to put the trigger warnings before we get through the summary, which is going to take up most of it. But for this one, the trigger warnings are definitely hanging. Today, we're talking about the movie called The Rope Curse. And right off the bat, I'm going to say it was an experience because while I thought I could watch it on Netflix, I could not. It's haunted, so I watched it. Michelle's just going to hear about it. And we watched a YouTube version that had English subtitles that quit off and on throughout the movie.
They were questionable to begin with.
They were questionable to begin with, but they were there. I will say, though, that this movie, I don't know how much you could tell from the trailer, but my boyfriend and I thought this movie felt very Taiwanese.
Well, looking at just the trailer, because I am too scared to watch the rest of this movie, it was very much Taiwanese. The uniforms, the school, the set pieces, convincingly so.
And that was part of it, from the school to where they were, the images of the towns, because it takes place in a small seaside village. I don't think they ever say the name of the village, or if they did, that didn't make it into the subtitle. So it's just a seaside village in Taiwan. But yeah, that is actually like one of the best things I could say about it. To me, it didn't feel like the story itself was distinctly Taiwan, but a lot of the imagery and like the mood of the piece really felt like it belonged here.
Yeah, you said earlier upstairs in the office that you could take this movie and have it take place in any other East Asian country, but it would lose a vibe.
Yeah, it would definitely lose the feeling of it. In terms of, is there anything culturally specific that you have to know before we go into this? Mostly the idea of curses. And for this one, I don't think it's specifically Taiwanese, but I will ask you, Michelle, how much do you know, or how much like cultural cachet do you think the idea of the wronged woman ghost coming back, or even the idea of, trigger warning, suicide, which is a huge theme in this movie, so bear that in mind.
Yes, trigger warning, trigger warning. Well, the wronged woman exists in, I think, all cultures as far as ghost stories go. Here, in order to haunt the people who wronged you, then you're supposed to dress a certain way and then hang yourself.
Oh, well, then that's probably exactly what happened.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of people getting hung in this movie.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A lot. And two of them in the first 3 minutes. Also, things that we're going to talk about are extreme bullying. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, the trailer alone with the bullying.
Oh, girl, didn't even touch the surface.
Oh, okay.
So bad. And a little bit about domestic violence.
Okay.
But that will make sense when we get there, I think.
Cool.
So the cast of characters that you're going to need to know for this one, I'm only going to give names to Li Yuan and Shu Yi, or Li and Shu. And those are two of our main characters. The other characters who are important are fiance and producer buddy and the priest.
Okay.
He's the uncle and the priest. He contains multitudes. He's both at all times. Okay. him. So, this movie begins by detailing to us this belief that when somebody hangs himself, the resentment from their death is kept in the rope. And so because of that, there's a special ritual that takes place, at least in this village where the film takes place, where they bless the rope, they set it on fire and throw it out into the ocean.
Makes sense, yeah.
But it also the movie starts with a bride sobbing and hanging herself. Although she's hanging herself while constantly being like, I don't want to do this. Then we cut to a totally different time and place, a separate woman, but she's an older student, like an upperclassman or a senior, who has hung herself by a red rope in a school. She's discovered by two younger students who are like, oh, we need to tell a teacher right now. Mm-hmm. Hard cut to today. These live streamers.
It's always live streamers.
It's these live streamers. It's a team made up of fiance and Buddy.
Okay.
Buddy's uncle is the priest who performs these rope curses, and he has gotten the okay from his uncle to film this ritual in a live stream video that they're going to put online, because the news about this bride who's hung herself has been all over the internet, and they're going to go do the ritual on this rope.
Yeah.
Because they were like, well, that's no good. On the way down, though, they realize that they forgot the light for their camera. And this takes place at night because they don't want to frighten people. So fiance calls up the main character, Shu. And he's like, could you bring me the light for my camera? Because what she doesn't know is he's trying to use this video to make enough money for their wedding.
Aw.
So if they get 300,000 views,
right,
he thinks they're going to make $300,000 in
That's not
revenue.
True. Okay.
So fiance and Buddy get to the ritual, but they're late getting there.
Oh.
Because they're taking it out to the sea. But on the way to the sea, they went over a little bit of a bump, and the rope fell out of the bag, and no one saw the rope fall out of the bag.
No.
That's a problem.
It is
so
a huge problem.
By the time that the boys get there, they're already getting ready to throw it out to sea. So the boys don't have time to ask questions. They're like, we got to get this on film. Shu shows up and gives them the light. So she's in the mix now. And she just stays with them for the rest of this time because now she's 3 hours away from Taipei. She's not going to drive back. It's 10 p.m. But they have another problem because these guys are just the filmers. There was supposed to be a host for the live stream, but the host is late. So Buddy heads out to go find the host, who says she's just arrived. On the way out, Buddy trips over what he immediately recognizes is the rope. He's freaking out.
Yeah.
And he immediately starts to get haunted. And the host shows up and she's like, you should find me a place to live. I don't want to be in this terrible, rundown, cheap town on the seaside. And she's just like this stuck-up city-goer who's like really pretty. But she sort of interrupts his haunting. So her timing is perfect for him not getting got by a ghost.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like, okay, well, I'll find you a place to stay because you missed the ceremony, so I don't really know what we're going to film, but you did come out here anyway, so he has to try to deal with that. But in his mind, he's also like, the rope is not burned. This is a problem because his uncle's a priest. So he has some awareness of how bad this is going to be. Meanwhile, before they pack up and go to Shu's home, because this town is her childhood home.
I see.
She looks out to sea because she thinks she hears someone calling her name. Everybody goes to their respective homes. Fiance and Shu go to her family home. Her parents aren't there. This is like a home that they used to keep out here. Buddy takes this city girl to his home, and she hates it. And he's like, just stay here, please, and I'll figure something out later. That night, they put up the live stream, and it is doing huge numbers. Also, Shu has weird dreams of being stuck out at sea. Like she's floating at sea and she hears somebody singing and she wakes up with a red rash starting to form on her neck. Also during the night, Buddy remembers where that rope is and he takes a plastic bag. Credit to him. He doesn't touch it with his hands. No, he didn't. Okay. He knows where it is, takes it out to sea and just throws it out as far as he can. He's like, I did good. He goes home. Also that night, the streamer is bashing his house and live streaming from inside his house. And then people in the stream start saying, isn't there someone behind you? But she stands up to go investigate. And when she does, the bathroom starts bleeding from the floor. And she's like, well, I'm out of here. But as she tries to run through the door, she's essentially garroted by what seems to be
the rope.
Not a rope, but it's essentially this piece of crafting rope that seems to have strung itself up in the doorway to get her. Oh. So she runs into that, gets sort of garroted, and then it ties itself into a noose, drags her backwards, and hangs her from the ceiling fan.
Great.
Hard cut to Uncle comes back to his home in the morning after having done the ritual, and he's like, I did good. I'm a priest. I'm saving my community. Now I'm going to go to the bathroom and go to bed. And he opens the door and there's a dead woman hanging from his ceiling fan. And so Uncle's like, well, this is a problem. And this is where we hard cut to Buddy running out of the building. And Fiance's like, yo, what's wrong? And he's like, we need to stop. And Fiance, at this point, though, all that he's thinking about is the money. And so he's like, great, a woman died. We can go in and film the location of the curse. And Buddy is like, I don't want to do that. But he gets roped into He gets roped into doing it anyway. Meanwhile, nobody's keeping eyes on Shu. And she's kind of wandering around, constantly getting like lost in daydreams. Nobody's noticed this weird rash that's forming on her neck. And she starts to like remember a songbook that she shared with her childhood friend, Li Yun. Now, Li was a girl who was a really beautiful singer, but she is bullied a lot by the other girls because she has this like birthmark or something. We never find out what it is. But she and Shu become best friends because they have a secret like getaway under a bridge where they meet together, play guitar, and sing songs that they've made up together. It's a really sweet friendship. And she keeps going in and out of trances throughout the day, like seeing things that don't really belong to her.
Oof.
Not that Fiance cares, he's making money. That night, he and Buddy drive back to the house. And while they're in the house, start doing extremely ill-advised things. Buddy uses the bathroom, which was bleeding before, and his friend picks up a picture from underneath the bed, like a picture that belonged to the model. They get home, he starts posting it. And while they're talking, his girlfriend wakes up and she's like, where do you keep going in the middle of the night? And they're like, we found this photograph, and what's crazy is that 2 of these girls are already dead. Because the first one was the bride who hung herself. And she's like, I know them. They all went to school with me. What do you mean that 2 of them are dead? And then we realized these 3 women were bullies of her childhood friend. And they're like, there's another person. And she's like, yeah, I know, Chung. And he's like, well, we should go investigate her because what if she dies? And she kind of freaks out and she leaves. And they're like, God, what's gotten into her? And that night she remembers an incident of like extreme bullying that happened to her friend, Lee. When they were younger, her friend Lee asked Shu to give a letter to the guy that Lee liked. Then we hard cut to back in class, the bullies have gotten their hands on his reply, and it escalates to them mocking her, and she slaps one of them. And then later she confronts Shu, where she's like, how did they have that letter? Like, you're the only other person I knew who had that letter. And she was like, I didn't give them to them. And Lee is like, you're the pretty one, and I'm the ugly one. Why does everybody like you? Just leave me alone. All right.
So the friendship falls apart.
It does. And then finally, in one of the most egregious incidents of bullying, she like dreams that she's Li Yun, and she sees 2 incidents in which one, the 3 bullies got back at Li Yun by like cornering her in a bathroom and just repeatedly spraying her down with a hose. And Shu walked past.
Oh no.
And she doesn't stop them. So she's clearly haunted by this, at least by her inaction. So then the boyfriend hears her like screaming and thrashing in the back room. And he's like, girl, what's wrong? He goes in and he sees this horrid rash on her neck, but it starts to resemble the mark that Li Yun had on her face. And he's like, well, we got to take this girl to the priest. So they go to Uncle Priest and he purifies her. And he's like, well, she's good for now, but the ghost is going to follow you unless you can figure out why she's angry.
Right. You have to resolve the unresolved.
You have to resolve the unresolved issue. I can only do so much. So they all decide the best thing to do would be to find the 3rd bully who's still alive.
Yeah.
They all try to reach her, but the ghost curse gets there first.
Of course it does.
Because Lee is out for blood, and she's starting with these 3. Now, Priest Uncle is like, we have to find the original rope. That's clearly where the source of resentment came from. So they go back to the school, which apparently has just kept this rope that a woman committed suicide with in the rafters this whole time because it's still there. So I don't know. Also, something that I was thinking constantly was like, where are the adults in every scene?
Oh, there's no adults.
There's no teachers anywhere in the school, Michelle, which is also crazy to me because I've seen Taiwanese schools.
They're carpenter teachers.
There are no adults seemingly anywhere on the campus.
Wow.
This school sucks so bad.
Okay.
The uncle's like, we're going to purify you tonight, but I think the best course of action, since we don't know what the problem is still, we should see if we can talk to her and see if she will then tell us what her problem is. Before they do this ceremony, they stay at Shu's house, and Fiance goes downstairs. He gets lured into the basement by the ghost, where he also finds Shu's diary. And then we find out the rest of what happened to Lee the day before she died. When Shu was supposed to give the letter to the boy that Lee liked, She was ready to do it because she goes to cram school with the boy Lee likes. Lee doesn't have a class with him. And we look up, it's fiance.
Oh, no. No. She's a man stealer.
Now,
She's a man stealer.
And so Shu's initially trying not to engage, but he's being very nice. He's like over friendly almost. She just hides the letter that Lee asked her to give. And then she lies to Lee later. And it's probably she who wrote the reply.
But the rule is sisters before misters.
I know. And we never get clarification onto how the bullies got a hand of this letter. But I don't think that
it was maliciously given.
I don't think it was maliciously given because the big transgression seems to be that she stole the man.
Yeah.
And then we also cut to eventually like on prom night, the bullies somehow, I don't know, again, where are the teachers? The bullies lure Lee onto the roof and they throw her in the trash and they scratch up her face. And then Lee, feeling terrible, walks down to prom and she's like, I don't know, maybe the boy's here. And she sees Shu with the boy that she likes. So Lee hears everything. And she's like, well, I've seen enough. I'm out. And so that's the night. That's the full contents of the night. And now fiance knows.
Yes.
I don't know how he read all of this in the journal. And then he turns around and he's like, what are you doing down here, Shu? And she's like, oh, I'm possessed and I'm bashing my head into a wall. And he's like, well, we can't do that. So we're going to take you to the priest. And that's when they start the ritual. And the priest was like, maybe you guys can talk it out. So they start the ritual. They cannot talk it out.
They cannot.
Lee is done.
Of course.
Lee's not here to talk things out. She
Hell has no fury.
she breaks through every barrier, which is upsetting because this is the most professional priest barrier system I've ever seen set up. But Lee has too much resentment for that. She breaks through every barrier, tears everything down, tears it up, because the one that she really wants to kill is Shu, who is currently possessed. So fiance is running around and he's like trying to find his girl. He's like, Shu! Finally, he sees that the ghost is actually there holding her up in the air, strangling her to death. And he just watches this for like a long time, just like yelling, like, let her go. But eventually the priest is like, burn the rope.
Okay.
It probably won't work, but that's all that we got.
Yeah.
So get it done. Lights it on fire, throws it into the fire. And then in this moment, we see between these two girls, these two best friends, honestly kind of like heartbreaking, heart-wrenching moment where like they're making eye contact and she was like, I'm so sorry, like I regret it. And Lee is just like screaming her head off. But eventually she burns up and we cut to black. For a long time, we go to the aftermath and we see fiance wheeling out Shu, driving away in the car, and there's some unsettling music playing. And as we're driving through the car, Shu looks over at him in the car mirror. We see the face of Shu, but in the face of the hand mirror that she's holding, she see Lee's face, the ghost's face.
Yeah.
She closes it and she looks out the window and we see in her reflection it's also Lee's face. And we understand that Shu has been displaced and possessed by Lee. And that's where the movie ends with a really unsettling line of dialogue from the director that says, I would like to use this movie to comfort those who have died. And then the credits roll. And
okay,
boy, I didn't know how to feel about the end of the movie. I didn't know how to feel.
I mean, there's many theories that I might have. For example, with Shu feeling as regretful as she did, she could have given it her body.
Well, and Jared and I have a theory that might have happened because there's a couple of metaphors that were like kind of lost on us because we had really bad, like it was alluded to at the beginning.
Terrible
really
subtitles.
Terrible subtitles.
Yeah.
They cut in and out. We used Google for some of these. But along the whole time, we have these two metaphors. One of them is learning to play the guitar because Lee taught Shu how to play the guitar. And there's a metaphor of like, it really hurts at first, but the more that you practice, you'll build calluses up. And that's a good thing because they'll protect you. The second metaphor is this song that they've written, the lyrics for which we were finally able to translate at the very beginning. And it's something to the idea of like, look up at the stars. I have forgotten who I am. Can anybody find who I am? I give myself to you. Something along those lines. And that is playing during the intense screaming and I'm so sorry, I'm the one who hurt you the most scene. Yeah. But it's unclear. And I think that's on purpose for sure. Because this movie, while I don't know how to feel about it, I don't think it was a bad movie. But that's ambiguous. So we don't know if Shu was like, you deserve this.
take it.
I'm sorry.
Take my body.
Because
or if she was forcibly possessed by Lee.
Yes, or she was forcibly possessed. Because what is true is like throughout the movie, as opposed to like the bullies who are like, oh my God, it's that girl, we hate her. Shu is honestly agonized this whole time and really like caught in memory lane.
Because she blames herself and she's actually kind of a good person rather than like unlike the bullies.
Right. So I think we're led to believe, and to me, I feel like it would have been a stronger movie if Shu actually hadn't done anything wrong, but it was just that the fiance, like she tries to set them up and fiance is like, no, I like you better.
Right.
You shouldn't have lied to your friend. You should have just told her. But the transgression here to me, and maybe that's supposed to be the quiet tragedy of it. She never went to fiance trying to hurt her friend.
Of course.
It's
None
just
of it was
she's
intentional.
a teenager. She
girls?
makes a silly mistake. Well, she betrays her friend, but in a typical teenage way.
Exactly.
It's like I didn't tell her, but I really wanted to date him. I didn't know I wanted to date him until he started showing like nice interest in me. He is handsome.
There wasn't any communication.
He was spending time with me, and now I'm embarrassed to tell my friend Lee because I know she really likes him. What if she gets mad at me?
Right.
You know,
we were both teenage girls at some point.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just
a boy drama gets real.
the boy drama. So that's all understandable. Yeah. Oh, it does
Anyway.
lay the way for the sequel.
It does. There are 2 more movies after this. So there are 2 more movies to The Rope Curse. I am pretty sure that Uncle Priest is the prominent feature in both of them, but I don't know what is going to happen in the other ones. Since they're all The Rope Curse, presumably there's a lot more hangings. I don't know if it's the same ghost, though. Yeah, I don't know.
About different ropes.
Might be about different ropes, which is a terrible thing to say.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, no. So, yeah, I think this story could have been written into most other of our neighboring countries because the wronged woman plays especially strong in East Asian and Southeast Asian mythology.
Yeah.
But the feeling of this movie, like, I don't think you could keep that.
It's rural Taiwan.
And, like, really nailing that vibe. But the mythology... I don't know that the mythology itself behind it felt
unique,
specifically Taiwanese. Yeah. Maybe if you were to see like some of the ritual practices, which I know you're never going to watch.
Nope, never.
But they were like pushing the ghost out of her. He used like a snake spitter thing. It's not a real snake. It's just things. Except for the deity parade, which did feel very Taiwanese too.
Oh, yeah.
So, well, Michelle, what are we talking about next week?
So, as per the rules, I watch something that Amanda has a real problem with. Like, I have a problem with supernatural, ghosty stuff.
Yeah.
I watched The Sadness, which is
appropriate to how I felt after watching this movie. the one tagline you would get for next week.
Oh, here comes the cannibalism.
Which is a real text you sent to me while watching the movie. Anyway, thank you all for listening to Radio Taiwan. This has been our spooky, I always want to say because of the song
Fall
Spooky Ska.
Freakout.
This has been our Fall Freakout episode, the first one. Join us next time where Michelle tells me more about the sadness and we both feel terrible.
Sad.
We'll see you next time. Bye.